It's the Real News Network. I'm Charmini Perez coming to you from Baltimore. Last Friday, Brazilian police geared up with heavy weaponry and raided several buildings and compounds belonging to the landless workers movement, also known as MST in Brazil. Raids took place in the states of Paraná, Mato Grosso do Sul, and Sao Paulo state. Those arrested have been accused of participating in criminal activities, which MST rejects outright. MST was one of the key founding organizations of the World Social Forum. On Saturday, the day after the arrest, over 1,000 activists from 36 different countries gathered at one of the raided locations, the National School of Florestan Fernandes near Sao Paulo. Let's have a look. Those gathered expressed their solidarity with MST, an organization that has been the beacon of landless workers' rights in Brazil and was supported social movements worldwide. They were joined by former President Lula da Silva, among other legislators. Let's have a look.
Companheiros e queridas companheiras.
These attacks on the MST come in the wake of parliamentary coup against the Workers' Party president Dilma Rousseff last August. Now there are a series of charges and allegations against former very popular President Lula da Silva. Some speculate that these allegations that appear to be popping up every week is an effort to slander his appeal. MST has always supported former President Lula da Silva. He is considered a serious contender for the next presidential elections unless these allegations materialize in barring him from running in the next election. Well, on to talk about this and much more from Sao Paulo, Brazil, is Cassia Bechara. She is a director with MST National. Cassia, it's so wonderful to have you with us.
Hi, Charmini. Thank you very much. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for opening this space.
So, Cassia, let's start with why the crackdown on MST is happening right now.
Charmini, actually, we understand that the crackdown is not only on MST, but it's an attempt to criminalize all social movements and social struggles in Brazil. What happened last Friday was a national police operation that started with the police of Paraná and also went to the states of São Paulo and Mato Grosso do Sul, and they're targeting MST leaders who have organized a land occupation on what is actually state land, and it was taken by a big company called Arautel. So it's actually a way of criminalizing the struggle for land, but more than that, it's a way of criminalizing all the struggles and social movements in Brazil. You know that you are now living under a coup d'etat in Brazil, and the government needs to legitimize itself by criminalizing every organized movement which was against the coup. So it is an attempt, more than only MST, to criminalize the whole social movements in Brazil. MST ends up being a big target because it's a symbolic movement in Brazil. It's one of the biggest movements in Brazil. It was one of the main working class organizations working against the coup. So this is one of the ways to symbolically criminalize all the social movements. But you have to remember that we have now in Brazil more than 1,000 schools occupied by the students in Brazil against the attempts of this government to make several reforms on the education. So the students are also mobilizing themselves, and the repression of the police has always been targeting the students. So this is only to say that it's much larger than only an attempt to criminalize MST, but the whole struggle in Brazil.
Cassia, you're now coming to us from one of the schools that were raided by the police last Friday, the National School of Florestan Fernandes. Now, this is a school where a lot of education training goes on nationally, but also internationally. I mean, I myself have been to this school last time for a meeting of journalists that were taking place. Describe to us the atmosphere this kind of raid has left on the school and the movement.
It was very impressive, the violence in which the police came to the school. With very heavy arms, and just like jumping the gates and starting firing into the air, but really threatening the ones who are there. Really surprised us because the school is also bigger than MST, as you said. This is the symbol of unity of the working class, nationally and internationally. Even though, and it was showed not only on Saturday, but on the day itself, because even though, of course, the ones of us who were there at the gate and were able to prevent the police to really entering the facilities of the school, but what really made them retrieve and leave was the prompt national and international solidarity response what happened. So I think there are two things important in this event. One is how communications were important, and which showed that how it's important for us as social movements to build our own communication tools. The way that very quickly on social media, the comrades could make the videos and send it out and spread it to Brazil and to the whole world. The response was so quick, and the pressure the solidarity made under the police command was what obliged the police to retrieve. And this is really important to point out. Of course, we who were there at the gate, we could prevent them to enter the facilities in the first 1 hour of conflict. But if it wasn't for the international solidarity, they would have entered at some point. We were unarmed. We would not be able to hold them for much longer. Although their invasion was totally illegal. They didn't have a search warrant to enter the school. The arrest warrant they showed us didn't have any legal validity because it wasn't signed by any judge. So it was a arrest warrant that was like just printed out from their office and didn't have any signature from any judge. So it didn't have any legal validity. But they were really determined to enter.
Yeah. Now, Cassia, now President Dilma Rousseff was replaced with her very conservative Vice President Michel Temer. Just days after removing her from office, Temer was caught on a video speaking where Temer effectively admits that President Dilma Rousseff was removed from office because of her economic her refusal to accept his economic plans rather than any law she broke by way of bookkeeping. So let's have a look at what he had to say here.
Nós lançamos até, eu ainda vice-presidente, lançamos um documento chamado Uma Ponte para o Futuro, porque nós verificávamos que seria impossível o governo continuar naquele rumo e até sugerimos ao governo que adotasse as teses que nós apontávamos naquele documento chamado Ponte para o Futuro. E, como isso não deu certo, não houve adoção, instaurou-se um processo que culminou agora com a minha efetivação.
Also from Intercept of Dilma Rousseff referring to these comments, confirming that this was in fact the reason why she was removed from office was that she didn't accept Temer's economic plan presented to her.
Havia também os que com prontuário queriam uma outra coisa. Vamos aplicar um programa de governo que não foi aprovado nas urnas. Um outro programa de governo. E isso está sendo confessado. Porque tem uma coisa interessante nesse golpe. Eles confessam o golpe.
2 dias depois.
2 dias depois, eles vão confessando. A última confissão foi feita pelo presidente ilegítimo e usurpador atual no cargo, que disse o seguinte: não, nós fizemos o impeachment para poder aplicar o programa Ponte para o Futuro. Ora, o programa Ponte para o Futuro, que tira direitos trabalhistas, que tira direitos sociais, que privatiza, que vende as terras a estrangeiros. Esse programa não foi aprovado nas urnas. Então, essa é uma outra razão do golpe.
Cassia, in the first video we showed of President Temer, he's saying that Dilma Rousseff was removed because she rejected following his economic plan. What kind of plan did he propose here?
This is what we have been saying since the beginning, and it's really important to highlight. Brazil, there wasn't an impeachment process in Brazil. What happened in Brazil was a coup d'etat. And this only proves, this audio and video you showed only proves that. And the main reason for this coup d'etat is to implement a neoliberal agenda in Brazil. And this is what the government started doing from the beginning. This is what they call Ponte para o Futuro, the program that Temer just spoke about in the video. It's just a program to hardly implement neoliberal measures in Brazil. And that means flexibilize labor laws. That means privatization of health and education. That means the end of the retirement policies. That means so many things that he started doing as soon as he took the power. And this is why also they are cracking on, and they are so determined that they are going to crack on any movement or anyone who stands on the way to implement it. They are repressing the students who are occupying the schools against the implementation of liberalism in education, and that's why they're cracking on MST, and that's why they're going to crack on the unions who are organizing and mobilizing against the labor adjustment laws that the government is trying to implement now for the 11th of November. We are calling together with all unions in Brazil for a general strike against the implementation of this, what they are calling economic Brazil, which is actually just to implement the neoliberalism in Brazil.
Now, the November 11th National Day of Strike that you're calling for, along with a number of other unions, as you said, and social movements and so on. Do you think this effort in terms of the raid on the MST and the arrests that have been made is an effort of intimidation in order to crack down on the ability of MST to organize very effectively? I mean, MST has a very good proven track record of being able to mobilize thousands and thousands of people to these actions.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, what they are trying to, you're right, they're trying to intimidate MST, but also intimidating MST, they also think that they can intimidate all the social movements in Brazil. Of course, it backfired on them, because what happened at the school on Saturday, just after this intimidation, was the opposite of what they thought could happen. The wave of solidarity, like to be able to gather so many people as we did in less than 24 hours call, just showed them that as more repression they try to put on us, we are going to mobilize even. So even though we do believe that they are trying, that this is what they are trying to do, as criminalizing the struggle to intimidate people to organize themselves, mobilize, go to the streets, but it's not going to work, and I think all the social movements in Brazil have already showed that they are not going to get intimidated by this government.
All right, Cassia, I look forward to having you back on November 11th. One of our producers here at The Real News, Gregory Wilpert, will be on the ground for that day of national strike on November 11th, and we look forward to hearing from you then.
Thank you, Sharmini. Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us on The Real News Network.